6 mile each side of the river, 6 mile each side of the river, sending shivers down your spine. Yeah, I'm just asking for what's mine.
How many days have the Land Defenders and Allies been here?
This is day 202. Yeah, 202 days now.
It's a long time. What has been happening at 1492 over the past couple of weeks?
Well, a lot of the same stuff. I mean, we've been, kind of hunkering in for the winter. Making sure everybody's got, it's a lot of cutting wood. It's a lot of, cooking, cleaning. A lot of making sure everybody's got everything that they need. I mean, the building that we're in right now is one of the buildings that we were able to put a wood stove in, and sadly wasn't going before we got in here. But I mean,
By the end, it'll be nice and warm.
But yeah, no, it's been amazing to be able to see everybody kind of coming together. There's lots of talks going on, lots of trying to make sure that we're able to stay here for the foreseeable future.
Excellent. How have you and the other land defenders here at 1492 been holding up?
Good. I mean, yeah, I think we're all fed, and we've got lots of friends and family and groups that come out with food and hot food all the time. And like today, I think ham and potatoes was on the menu today. And so, I mean, we like the gratitude that we have for all of the people that continue to come out, and again, 202 days later, and we're still able to hold their ground here at Landback Lane. It like our ability to do that lies solely at the feet of all those people that continue to support us.
So actually, this is a little bit of a follow-up to what you said just a moment ago. I see that you've been asking or seeking advice and input from the Six Nations community. What feedback have you been getting from them? Is there a broad support from the Six Nations community for 1492?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were during the summer and into the fall, we were able to do like a lot of community engagement, lots of meetings, lots of people coming out, lots of doing that kind of work. And with COVID being what it is right now, we've had to kind of switch gears a little bit, because we can't have those kind of large gatherings anymore for the safety of our community. And so making sure that we're doing all the things that we can to make sure that like folks are safe, but can also get their opinions across, and make sure that we understand exactly what it is folks that are at home that can't be here for whatever reason are concerned about, and want to make sure that we're getting those voices as well as all the rest.
So have you had to change direction or approach or your plans based on that feedback, or is the feedback mostly supportive and just tell you to keep going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do change our whatever it is that we're doing based on whatever our direction is from that community. Like Six Nations is our home, and that if there's something that we're doing or not doing that folks want to see more of or less of, then we that's where we take our cues from.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Many non-Indigenous people that oppose the land action here at 1492 argue that it's just a land grab by some people from Six Nations, or that it's about money. However, many land defenders contend that this is about two issues. One, a legal and practical issue, and that there is a deep connection between the land and the people. So what is 1492 about?
Well, I mean, like, this is just about it, and it always has been only about land. I mean, like, this is our ability to be able to grow as a community. I think we can, you can talk about the additions to reserve process, but until you're blue in the face about how that's broken and has never worked, not just here but anywhere. Like, this is a problem for us as a community, because like we want the same thing that every big city, every small town. We want exactly the same things, to be able to grow and to be able to thrive. Like, you look at every other community across the country, whether those are big cities or small towns.
Yeah,
they've all grown exponentially over the last 100 years, except for reserves. Reserves are the only ones in the last 100 years that have got nothing but smaller. And so as those surrounding communities start to encroach on those lands to be able to hem us in so that we can't grow, so that we can expand, like this is a problem and it should be a problem for everybody.
That's actually leads me right into my next question, is that one of the issues that seems to be facing Six Nations, particularly the fact that they're the largest community in North America, is that they're simply running out of space, and that many community members can no longer buy lands, and thus constructively being forced out of the community. Do you see people like your children's generation, or maybe the next one? Do you see that they might not have there might not be any place for them to buy and to have land?
Absolutely, and I mean I think that kind of speaks to the way that we live. You know, like we don't live, you know, spitting distance from the next house. Mm-hmm. You know, our homes are spaced out. Our ability to live within what nature gives us is part of not just Six Nations, but this is true of just about every reserve across the country. Is like when you go there, you can see that the houses are spaced out. Yeah. And so for us, absolutely, unless you're going to do massive subdivisions, then you know there is no place for us to grow as a community, as nations.
And that's just not something that the Six Nations community is even interested in, right? Like you want to be able to have that space.
This is it, and I mean, like the space to be able to even buy land on a reserve is getting really difficult and really expensive, and so it becomes, you know, out of the realm of possibility for folks, and so to go and rent an apartment in Hamilton or Brantford or Toronto or Niagara Falls, like these are realities that our people are faced with right now.
Is that already happening? That people?
Oh, absolutely, it is. I mean, you know, I think it's about a quarter of our band list lives off reserve.
So, is there? This wasn't a planned question, so I apologize. But when this happens, when someone who is like turning of age, they're getting a job, and because of just no land being available, are there issues for them when they move off res?
I mean, there's all kinds of social issues that happen that way, right? I mean, this is our homeless population, our incarcerated population is because of that. You know, I think there's a direct link between the, you know, over incarceration rates and rates of Indigenous people within children's aid and children's care. Like these all have direct ties to one another. Okay. And so I think that also with the inability for us to grow as communities, like these are huge issues that we need to start tackling, and within legislation and law, absolutely, they need to be dealt with.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I've been following your posts on Facebook, and I see that some people in Caledonia and Haldimand County, some in Six Nations, want the roads reopened. Are you guys opposed to reopening the roads around the site, or do you still want them shut down? I
mean, I don't think any of us have been for the roads being closed in the first place. Like
it was a necessity.
Well, this is the thing, right? Is when police are left as the only means of negotiating. Like they don't have any other means of communication other than that violence and threats and intimidation. And so for them to be our only means of that nation to nation, and they are representing the crown and in all of this, and the only people that they're sending is a person with a gun on their hip. Yeah. Like that isn't what nation to nation looks like.
So if the province or the federal government, probably the province, if they were to ask, say like we need the roads reopened, what I'm asking is the condition that the OPP maybe have a smaller or no role in this?
I don't think the OPP has any role in this. As far as I'm concerned, there should be no OPP presence here at all.
So who would be the best either organization or entity to negotiate, if that's the right word,
Well, I mean, I think that would be the representatives from the Crown.
Okay.
And so, like, that's the Carolyn
feds?
Bennett and Mark Miller kind of
Okay.
hold those positions within the Crown Indigenous Relations Minister and the Minister Rickford for the province, to be at the table making sure that whenever there's any Indigenous resistance to development, whether that be pipelines or resource extraction or massive developments, massive housing developments right up on the doorstep of Ungohome communities. We need to make sure that Crown representation is being honored.
And obviously, and I'm just speaking pragmatically. The OPP are not going anywhere, unfortunately. So, right now, is it looking like the roads are going to stay closed for the time being?
For right now, absolutely.
But that may change later. If
No, and I
circumstances-
think that's something that we're working on quite diligently to make sure that we can, find some level of trust within the OPP to be able to open those roads. Because I mean, like, this is just 3 months after being drawn down on and shot at and tasered, and on October 22nd when the cops shot at people at the entrance to the site.
That was the last time they came here on force, correct?
That's right.
Okay. How much fight is left in the land defenders here at 1492?
Well, let's see. What am I, 38 now? I think I got a few more years left.
Still a few more years. Okay. The winter hasn't slowed you guys down yet, has it?
Come on, not
No.
at all.
Okay.
I mean, this is like, most
As long
of
as we have the wood stoves
most
going.
of us grew up on wood stoves, and like this is, there ain't nothing
There's
to
nothing slowing
this.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a question about the future. What does the next few months look like for the folks here, practically for the living on the land during the winter, but also legally? What are the future hold?
So right now we've got our appeal being heard at the Ontario Court of Appeal, and so that will hopefully restart our civil case. And that's the injunction that's against us. And so hopefully we'll see that back in the courts here in the early spring. And practically on the ground here, it's it's cutting wood, it's taking care of each other, it's laughing, it's trying to have some fun in the midst of constant OPP pressure to like, this is something that it's not for the faint of heart, to understand that for 202 days now that the cops have been coming in every day. Every day somebody calls to say the cops are coming in today. And so it's something that I think most of the folks that are here and are on site and that live here, and like, this is something for them that is is something that we've kind of grown accustomed to now.
They've settled in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're in for the long haul?
Absolutely. We have dug in, and there's
nothing
in the world that those cops or those courts or their jails or their guns can do to dissuade us from maintaining our grounds here.
One of the most common questions I get, I'm sure that you get, is what's the end to this?
You know what? Land back. Land back is the end goal. And so if we're going to talk about the additions to reserve process and what it takes to make new lands available for reserves, then absolutely I'm in. If that means the province buying out or the feds buying out this developer so that these injunctions and the threat of OPP violence on the heads of everybody here can go away, absolutely I'm in. And so, like, these are like all of those discussions that need to start happening, that need to start moving forward, are things that we're trying to push in every avenue possible. And so we've gotten tons of support from folks along the Haldimand track that are, whether that's municipalities or the federal NDP and provincial NDP have both spoken out on our behalfs in their respective houses. Mm-hmm. And so, like, this is something that we're willing to put the work in to make sure that our grandkids, our great grandkids, will have an area of land that they can grow and thrive as a community. Like, this is like, I always question, kind of harken back to this conversation with at the very start, and the reporter had asked me where my house was going to go. And I kind of laughed and I said, oh, I've got a house and land and Six Nations, like I'll be all right. Oh, so your kids are gonna? I said, oh no, there's enough land over there and that our family can kind of stay together. And he put his camera down and was like, well, how do you mean? Like, you're telling me you have absolutely no personal stake in this? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I got nothing to gain by this. And he said, you know, they're going to put you in jail. I said, yeah, they might. Oh no, they're gonna. And I kind of laughed and I was like, well, I mean, if that's what they need to do in order to put down the Indians standing up for themselves, then you know what? Then they're gonna have to do that.
Do you think you'll get a fair shake in the Ontario Court of Appeal?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't think that that the judge is gonna say, "Come on, white people, get back on the boats. We fucked up, guys. Get on the boats. We gotta go." No, like and I don't think anybody assumes that that's going to be.
No, but I mean, yeah, obviously, you know, yeah, they're not going to do that. But you know, I've been reading the decisions from the original injunction, from the appeal to the injunction, and you can tell by the argument and the way it was framed that particular justice, that judge, had a particular bias. Do you hope by stepping it to the next level, and the Ontario Court of Appeal is a significant jump up in terms of the administration of the justice? Do you hope that now that you're taking it before 3 justices that aren't community members here, that maybe you have a better chance?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some strides to be made there. For sure there is. And I think if we can, you know, push the envelope just a little bit further, you know, to try and move the yardsticks along here so that we can have some of that recognition. And again, like I by no means think that the courts are going to because I mean, like the courts in itself, like the Supreme Court has talked about this massive divide that is created between the judicial system and Indigenous people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Gladue stuff. That's all it talks about is that is about our misrepresentation, our over incarceration rates, our you know, like all of these, you know, courts that have, you know, came out with all of these studies. Like, this isn't just like something that's talked about in academic circles anymore. Like, this is something that is like there's
meaningful conversation,
lots of proof behind it.
Yeah.
And so if we're gonna wade into those conversations, and we're going to develop all of this law within the criminal context, like, where else does it fit more than over a land claims issue?
For sure.
And so for us to be criminalized for our stance here, absolutely ridiculous. And so if we're going to push things forward, then we can definitely make the strides that we need to.
Awesome. Thank you, Skyler.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can't wash red blood off a white man's head. No, you can't. Try to make you people.
So I have 9 questions.
Yeah, no,
Gives you an idea.
I don't know. That's right. What do you can't see a bunch of balloons in my background, can you?
Just one.
Which one?
The bottom one right there.
Let me grab that off the fucking wall.
A 6 mile each side of the river. A 6 mile each side of the river, sending shivers down your spine. Yeah, I'm just asking for what's mine.